So what is the Cups of Wellbeing? The Cups of Wellbeing is one of two important visuals in the New Beginnings Core Needs framework. It brings together 10 core needs into the concept of cups. Parents are supported to understand that we have these emotional needs that when met supports well-being, and when it's unmet it means that our well-being is impacted. And the 10 needs were chosen based on putting together a number of theoretical frameworks, include a circle of security, Schema Therapy, and the neurobiology of attachment and trauma. So these needs are covered across those frameworks, and they include the overlap of these different needs. And so parents are supported to understand why these needs are so important, how these needs need to be supported in childhood by caregivers, how they shape well-being throughout life, and how, especially in the perinatal period, these needs are often stretched. And as we look at these needs individually, we can begin to notice that certain needs are most likely associated with certain mental health presentations or certain parts of what parents are finding really difficult. For example, safety. It's not just about physical safety, it's about the felt safety of the nervous system. And for parents experiencing high levels of anxiety, obsessive compulsive behaviours, or have experienced birth trauma and their nervous system is quite heightened, this need for safety becomes a way of understanding what support they need, rather than it be you have anxiety or you have PTSD. It's your body is searching for safety, and these are the ways it's searching for safety, and exploring whether it's helpful, unhelpful, providing some research in really simple compassionate terms so that parents can begin to see that they need more ways of finding safety in ways that are helpful. So yeah, these are an example of how these are used with a parent. And they are also the link between attachment theory and schema therapy. So through that, parents are able to see the patterns of how unmet needs in childhood show up and how these can show up as difficulties in the perinatal period, and how they can contribute to schemas. The other really helpful thing about the cups of need and how you can use it with parents is that you don't actually have to go back into childhood. You can just focus on these needs in the perinatal period, how they can be stretched, how their mental health relates to these needs, and how supporting these needs to be met is a way forward with their mental health. It can also, at the same time, support parents to understand what their children are going to need to have their needs met. So it's a more, it's a needs-based way of supporting them to understand mental health, but without the destabilisation that potentially could occur by getting them to reflect on their childhood at a time where maybe they just don't have the stability or the safety in their nervous system to cope with that. So that is a little bit of how parents are supported with this. What the New Beginnings Core Needs training does is helps mental health clinicians or clinicians working with parents to be able to help them have reflective conversations about these needs, help the clinicians understand what needs or what combination of needs are most likely connected to certain mental health presentations, exploring how these needs are unmet or met, and also how coping mechanisms or schemas relate to that. So often the way parents are coping can be a cue to the unmet need. So that's a very brief introduction about the Cups of Wellbeing. And if you're interested in knowing more, you're welcome to have a look at some of these other videos and see how it fits in the broader New Beginnings framework, or come along to a training. Thanks.